to New Rockstars. It's me, MT, and the Skrulls are among us. Is it you? Or could it be you? Either way, with Secret Invasion on the way, we here at New Rockstars thought that we should prepare you all for an invasion of the Body Snatchers by telling you everything that you need to know about the Skrulls in the MCU, while also giving you a list of the most devastating MCU characters that the Skrulls could ever impersonate to take over the entire planet. Let's go, everybody. And hey, this video is brought to you by Squarespace. More on them later. But like always, do not forget to hit up nerdriot.shop so that you can get you an amazing new nerd shirt on your body. We have some incredible new Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 designs. These are some of my favorite shirts that we've ever made. All right, so the Skrulls are, of course, a race of shape-shifting aliens in a seemingly never-ending war with the intergalactic Blue Man group known as the Kree Empire. And the Kree-Skrull War has been a conflict that has been going on for thousands of years in the MCU, mostly because the Kree have historically been extremely aggressive bullies in the galaxy, bent on gobbling up as many planets as they can into their empire. And the Skrulls just aren't having it. But though this war has been waging for a millennium in the background of the MCU, we didn't get our first look at the Skrull race until Captain Marvel's first movie. Before then, our only hint at the Skrulls' existence in the overall MCU came in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, when the words Excelsior are written in the Skrull language as Rocket Raccoon roasts Stan the Man, one of my favorite Easter eggs from that movie, R.I.P. Stan. When we first meet the Skrulls in Captain Marvel, they were portrayed as refugees led by Ben Mendelsohn's Talos alongside his wife Soren. Talos used to be a commander in the Skrull army in the overall battle against the greedy Kree, but after the Kree destroyed the Skrull homeworld of Skrullos, Talos, Soren, and their daughter Gaia, and a bunch of other Skrull survivors were forced to flee the wrath of the Kree Empire. We actually first meet Gaia as a shape-shifting 90s kid in Captain Marvel, but by Secret Invasion, she will be an adult played by Game of Thrones' Emilia Clarke. However, Secret Invasion seems like it is telling us that Talos and Soren's group of peaceful refugees might not be the only flavor of survivor in town anymore, as the coming of the Skrull Gravik to the planet Earth alongside his own separate group of Skrull refugees seems to hint that there are Skrulls that are still ready to wage full-on war for the overall good of their people. And it seems like Earth just might hold some valuable resources for Gravik to utilize so that the Skrull race can get the revenge on the Kree Empire for their genocidal behavior on Skrullos. A lot of people died on that planet. But regardless of what Gravik's motivation for his band of Skrull refugees actually is, there is no denying that Secret Invasion will see Gravik and Talos butting heads as they fight over Earth's territory in disguise. But speaking of Skrull disguises, let's talk about the Skrull's ability to shapeshift and how it seems to work in the MCU. The Captain Marvel movie established that in order for a Skrull to impersonate someone, they need to visually see their physical form first. But when they do this, they are somehow able to copy the subject absolutely perfectly down to the very composition of their DNA, which is very impressive. And I feel like this is best exemplified in the MCU when we get that first-person view of Talos absorbing the photonic information of that surfer lady into his eyeballs, which then kickstarts his transformation into her physical form. But notice something super important here as Talos transforms. There are two components to the Skrull transformation: the transformation of the Skrull body and the transformation of the Skrull clothes. They transform differently in the MCU, with Talos's clothes turning into a weird purple energy that is then absorbed into this purple crystal on his left shoulder before then manifesting into the surfer's suit. This implies to me that these purple crystals on the Skrull uniform are what the Skrulls wear in order for their clothes on their transforming bodies to transform with them. But what about their green physical bodies underneath their special clothes? How do they work? Well, we learned from an autopsy of one of Talos's homies in Captain Marvel that a major factor that contributes to the Skrull ability to transform is the Skrull atomic structure itself.
All life on Earth is carbon-based, not this guy. I mean, whatever he runs on, it's not on the periodic table.
That's right, everybody. While human beings are made up of carbon and other elements on our periodic table of known elements, Skrull bodies are made up of matter that ain't nobody on Earth has seen before. However, if I were to take a stab of a guess, I would say that there is a chance that this mysterious matter that makes up a Skrull could be linked to Marvel and Howard Stark's favorite Tesseract itself. Because remember in Iron Man 2 when Tony Stark discovers and creates a new element that nobody has seen before using Howard Stark's work on the Tesseract? I have a feeling that this new element is the very same element that powers the Skrull race and makes their biology unique. An element linked to the blue cosmic energy of the Tesseract and, by extension, vibranium. The Skrull body is probably able to morph itself a lot like the vibranium of Wakanda can. You know, like the Wakandan Kimoyo beads, or Shuri's holographic vehicle interface, or even Tony Stark's Infinity War suit. And the reason why I'm making this connection to vibranium is because we learn in the Killmonger episode of What If that the blue blue energy within vibranium is closely connected to the blue cosmic energy of the Tesseract as well, because the atomic structure of Killmonger's ring in that episode matches that of the new element that Howard Stark left behind for his nosy-ass nerd of a son to discover later on in life when he was having some problems in Iron Man 2. He's a very depressed man. This is significant because it brings us to our next major Skrull fact. Skrulls can actually be detected in the MCU, much like they can in the comics. In fact, there is already a major Skrull detector invented in the MCU that Nick Fury totally forgot to bring with him for Secret Invasion like a dingus. Like, how are you going to fight Skrulls and forget S.H.I.E.L.D.'s ultimate secret weapon against the Skrull Empire, Goose the Flerken, the meowing terror of the Skrull race and the best kitty of all time. Look at him. He's so cute. In Captain Marvel, it appears that Goose has been able to spot Skrulls in disguise merely by their cosmic scent. But look, we're gonna get back to the video in just 1 second, but I've gotta tell you guys about Squarespace. Not only are they making it possible for me to do this video, but they could be making it possible for you to do whatever you wanna do online. That's because Squarespace makes it easy to make an awesome website that lets you engage with your audience and sell anything that you need, your products, content you create, and even your time. Squarespace is an all-in-one platform for building your brand and growing your business online. If you're into making videos, Squarespace can help you create pro-level videos effortlessly. The Squarespace Video Studio app will help you make and share engaging videos to tell your story, grow your audience, and drive sales. But hey, maybe videos aren't your thing because you're more of a social media buff. You can display posts from any profile you want on your website and automatically push website content to your favorite social media channels so your followers can share it too. No matter what you're doing, Squarespace's analytic tools will help you learn where your traffic and sales are coming from so that you can improve your website and build a marketing strategy based either on your top keywords or most popular products and content. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/newrockstars to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. And since Captain Marvel showed us that Goose had a major appetite for the Tesseract itself, even sort of seemingly leading Captain Marvel's group to the Tesseract after following its scent when they first arrive on the ship. And I freaking love how Goose even appears to try to open up the Tesseract like it was a closed can of tuna. Something tells me that the tentacled Flerken race might be related to those tentacle monsters from What If, because they seem to have a very similar appetite for Tesseracts. But anyways, the important point here is if the Skrull atomic makeup is linked to Marvel's mysterious Tesseract, then Goose theoretically wouldn't be the only tool in the MCU that could find Skrulls in hiding, because there could be a chance that Riri's vibranium detecting machine could eventually be evolved to detect the scent of Skrulls as well. But anyways, moving on, here is an important point to note about Skrull shapeshifting. Even though Skrulls can take the form of anyone that they see, they don't automatically absorb their memory. Instead, the Skrulls have developed a type of technology that allows them to scan the minds of the people that they capture and then download that information into these little purple crystal thingies that look very similar to the crystals that they have on their shoulder pads. This could explain why we see that massive room of people being stored in some type of alien containment in the Secret Invasion trailers. Each of those people who represent a human being that one of Gravik's Skrulls is impersonating at the moment. But those human beings are still being kept alive in storage just in case one of those Skrulls need to update themselves on the role that they're playing or pass off that role to somebody else. Like, this piece of technology that the Skrulls use to invade the privacy of people's entire lives is precisely what makes them so dangerous, you know, in combination with the whole shape-shifting thing. So thank God Nick Fury was not on the planet Earth this entire time apparently, because if there is any human being that Gravik's invading Skrulls would want to kidnap and replace first, it is none other than Nicholas J. Fury, the man with one eye and multiple very powerful friends. Like, Nick Fury has spent his entire career gathering the most sensitive information in the world, both as S.H.I.E.L.D.'s best international spy on the field and as a scientist, as he spent the most influential parts of his career as a head researcher on the potential for Tesseract dark energy as a weapon. Like, ever since the events of Captain Marvel radically changed Nick Fury's understanding of Earth's threats in the 90s, Fury has made it his life's mission to be one of the foremost experts on extraterrestrial threats to Earth. Because as we learned in the Secret Invasion trailers, Fury has always been preparing for an inevitable war with outside forces in the universe. It's basically why Nick Fury assembled the Avengers in the first place, while also trying to replicate those Tesseract Hydra weapons that Zola and Red Skull made back in World War II behind the Avengers' backs. Because as much as Nick Fury believed in his Avengers project, he trusted in the power of the Tesseract just as much, and that's what phase 2 of his project was. With Nick Fury's extensive knowledge of pretty much everything that is going on Earth at all times over the last few decades, I can definitely see why Fury could have voluntarily taken himself off the grid for a little while. Nick Fury's brain just being on Earth is a massive security risk with the existence of the Skrull people. And if we're talking Nick Fury, then of course the next best target to chase if you can't get at Nick Fury is of course Maria Hill, Nick Fury's right-hand woman and probably the closest human that Fury could probably call a friend and confidant. While definitely not as filled with top secret information as her older boss Nick Fury, being a high-level SHIELD agent and an Avengers ally definitely gives a Skrull access to a lot of extremely damaging secrets to humanity if the Skrulls ever got a hold of Maria. But luckily, the role of Maria Hill currently belongs to Talos' lovely green wife, Soren. So that person is taken. But who else could be a major liability for the planet Earth if they ever got their brains downloaded? Let's have a think together, Speculation Nation. Because if I'm the invading Skrull army, I'm gonna go for the most powerful and influential people on the planet. And that definitely includes the American government, with the most vulnerable person in America obviously being the President of the United States, who at the start of Secret Invasion is President Ritson, but whose motorcade seems to be under attack in the Secret Invasion promo material. So things don't appear to end well for President Ritson in that series, especially since we already know that Thunderbolt Ross will apparently be the president by the start of the events of Captain America New World Order. So pretty much anyone within President Ross or Ritson's cabinets and inner circles could potentially be a Skrull. Even Betty Ross, who we know will be making an appearance in Captain America 4 as well after Liv Tyler's last appearance in 2008's Incredible Hulk. But in regards to other important American political figures, we also have Rhodey, who apparently seems to have some type of political position in the Secret Invasion series and could potentially have a very close relationship with Thunderbolt Ross, as we've seen in previous movies like Infinity War. And with Rhodey's extensive knowledge of Tony Stark's arc reactor technology and everything Iron Man left behind after his death, like any of the senators from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, DODC Agent Cleary, or anyone from the Superhuman Law Division. In regards to the Avengers, one of the best people to actually take over is the form of Steve Rogers, because everyone in the world is missing Steve Rogers a lot and probably don't 100% like Sam Wilson as the new Captain America. And of course, Helen Cho from Avengers 2 would be another great person for the Skrulls to take over, given her extensive science knowledge as well as her closeness with everyone on that team, all the core members. In regards to the SHIELD organization, Nick Fury, Maria Hill, Cameron Klein, or any other agents of SHIELD, or Goose would be your ultimate in to get anywhere in that organization. As long as you got one person in SHIELD, you can slowly make your way to the top. In regards to the people at Project Pegasus who are working on the science of the Tesseract to make weapons, Eric Selvig is your best bet because he knows a whole lot about that damn cube. And of course, again, Goose is one of the best life forms to impersonate because no one is going to question what a cat is doing in a room at any time. In regards to the CIA, of course, Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine is the #1 gal to get at, but we also have the power broker, aka Sharon Carter, who used to work for the CIA as well. Both her past as a CIA agent and her current role as the power broker are very influential factors for the Skrulls who want to take her over. And of course, we also have Agent Madani from the Punisher series, who also works for the CIA. In regards to Russia, I believe that Melina from Black Widow is probably the best bet, as she herself has unlocked the ability to control human free will, which is something that the Skrulls will really love in their back pocket, but also Taskmaster. Taskmaster's memories are probably something that are very important to the Skrull Empire. And of course, Mr. Zemo himself, with his past knowledge of that Red Winter Soldier book, could probably be a huge asset to the Skrulls, because then they could probably control the Winter Soldier. But speaking of Zemo, let's talk about Hydra, because I believe that the best person for a Skrull to impersonate now is of course Mitchell Carson, who we last saw in Ant-Man 1 trying to rebuild the Hydra organization with Pym particles. And of course, we cannot forget about Ghost, because she herself has run a lot of missions for Hydra/SHIELD while she was working for them. So she's got a lot of intel in her very crazy brain. In regards to the nation of Wakanda, the best people to take over are of course Nakia, Wakabi, any of the war dogs hiding in the world, and Okoye and the Midnight Angels. Like any of those could potentially get you to either Shuri or King M'Baku. And of course also Everett Ross, who is a liaison between Wakanda and the white world. And of course, we also have the Ten Rings. Anybody who is either close to Xialing or anybody who went to Talos itself could be a huge threat to the Ten Rings and Talos. And in regards to the Stark Foundation, which is a powerful organization on Earth, Pepper Potts Happy Hogan or Morgan Stark would be the best bets there. And to best infiltrate Sword, Director Hayward, who is currently arrested after the events of WandaVision, still has a lot of really important information in his brain that the Skrulls could use to potentially take over Damocles' base that we see in the Marvels trailer. And also Monica Rambeau would be a massive get for them, as she is very involved with Sword as well. But two of the worst people for these Skrulls to ever download the information of their brains are, of course, Wanda Maximoff and Agatha Harkness, the Darkholders of the MCU, because as of the events of Doctor Strange 2, all the Darkholds in the multiverse have been destroyed. However, there are still copies of the Darkhold within Agatha and Wanda's brains, so they better stay far away from the Skrulls as possible. But in terms of the worlds of sorcerers in general, we have Christine Palmer, who is someone that Doctor Strange will literally go insane over if anything happened to her. And we also have Madison, who is close to Wong. America Chavez and her perspective of the multiverse could potentially be really damaging information for the Skrulls to have. And also Wong's fallen love Sarah from Multiverse of Madness. I feel like if a Skrull impersonated Sarah, she could potentially manipulate Wong however the hell she wanted. In regards to Asgard, Valkyrie, Korg, and Lady Sif are probably the best 3 points of contact there. And finally, in the world of street-level street crime, Kingpin, Vanessa Fisk, Kate Bishop's mom, Eleanor Bishop, Luke Cage, or Tinkerer's crew from Spider-Man Homecoming could be the best sources to take over all of street crime in the MCU. And of course, there are just generally people on the planet that just know too much. The Pyms, who know all about Pym particle technology, Doctor Strange, who just knows too much about magic, advanced idea mechanics, and of course, again, Nick Fury, whose entire job it is to know too damn much. But that is just my list of everyone in the MCU that could be the most devastating if they were ever taken over by a Skrull. Who do you think would be the most crucial captures for the Skrull Empire? Let us know in the comment section below. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. You can follow me at MasterTainment on Twitter if you want to see me tweet some weird shit and really fun theories, but most importantly, you can follow New Rockstars where we are on social medias. But again, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.